Hi, my name is Erin, and I've made a couple of videos lately. I was born with a somewhat rare skeletal deformity called Radial Club Hands. And what that means is one or both arms are significantly shorter and the hands are smaller than average. In my case, it was both. See? Um, I don't know if you can tell. Yeah, there we go. Shorter. Um, it means that the bone in your forearm right here, which is called your radius bone, for someone who has radius club hands, that bone is either deformed or missing. And that bone gives the forearm its length, and it also gives us our opposable thumbs. So when someone has something wrong with their radius bone, there's also usually something wrong with the thumbs as well. In my case, it was both sides, and the bone was completely missing. And so when I was a baby, I only had fingers. I didn't have any thumbs. And also I had really short arms. But fortunately, I had a fantastic team of surgeons who performed surgery, a series of 12 different surgeries on my hands and my arms. And you can kind of see little scars here, there. I don't know if you can see that. I have one that looks like a fossil of a fish, which I like, right here. And they gave me thumbs, so I was incredibly fortunate. I had the best doctors in the world because of the Shriner hospitals, the Kosher children's hospitals. So my parents were really lucky, and I was really lucky because they gave me all of the range of motion that I have, and anything I do with my hands, I constantly think about what those doctors did for me. And I'm not only proud that I was the beneficiary of that, I'm proud that we live in a world where that's possible. Especially a family that didn't have very much money, and you know, I would not be who I am today if I hadn't been given that medical care from the Kosher Children's Hospital. So donate, please. Donate to them. It's a fantastic organization. Anyway, not to digress. I was born with this condition, and it's affected my life in a kind of a ripple effect. Not in some ways that you would think, but in other ways. So I'm a twin. I have a beautiful twin sister, and she was not born with radial club hands. So we are very, very alike, and we're also very, very different. So my human experience has been unique, but I think everyone's is in some way. But because of my condition, we were homeschooled for our entire careers. I mean, grade school, high school, junior high, everything, until college. And it was kind of a culture shock because we were both so sheltered from people our own age. Now, I think this benefited me a great deal because I missed out on a lot of the nastiness that I would have ordinarily gotten. And I made decisions about myself at a young age. I had to decide, you know, knowing that people are going to look at me and they're going to make assumptions. You know, I am different, and they're going to assume things about my abilities. When I was a child, they assumed that I was mentally handicapped in some capacity, so they wanted to put me in special ed classes, which is a large part of why my parents decided to homeschool. And so I had to decide at a young age how I wanted people to perceive me. I had to define myself before they could. And so I think that really it's made me who I am. It's made me a strong person. I'm very creative. I love using my hands. I like sewing. I love cooking. And I'm a writer and an illustrator. And it can be sometimes hard to have those goals because they're a dreamer's goals, to make it as a writer, to make it as an illustrator. I'm writing a children's cookbook right now, and I'm really excited about it. But I know that these are ephemeral kinds of dreams, and a lot of people have them and they don't always make it. And I know that I might have a different path than other people, but I've been trying to find my own place in the world. And to that end, I moved to New York City in the past year by myself. It's been a big year. It's a huge year. I just turned 30. Horrible, scary, daunting age, and I left my friends and my family in my hometown, which is Louisville, Kentucky, and I came to New York. And I did that for a couple of reasons. I love the city. It's the cultural capital of the world. It's amazing. You can get lost in a crowd. You're never alone, and yet somehow you are always alone. I love it. But I also came because I knew that it would take me severely out of my comfort zone. You know, it's a different set of challenges, a different set of expectations, and a completely different pace. Being as sheltered as I was, you know, until I was about 18, the past 12 or 13 years has been an insane amount of change and growth and just getting comfortable in the world and learning how to interact with people my own age and learning how I wanted to interact with people my own age and learning a lot about myself. I hit an accelerated growth spurt as a human being. And I'm lucky because it was painful, it was hard, but you know, some people stay the same forever, and that's good for them, but it wasn't good for me. I was starting to become really, really unhappy, knowing that I'm someone who is probably capable of a lot, just because I'm a strong person, and knowing that I wasn't rising to meet even a fraction of that. I was really allowing myself to become very comfortable in my sheltered environment. You know, the world can be a scary place, especially for someone who's visibly different. Now, I personally think everyone has something that makes them unique and stand out, or something that makes them feel insecure. Everyone. Supermodels, famous actresses and actors, and you know, brilliant people. Everyone has something that makes them insecure. My thing is just more visible than some. So, but I don't think my human experience is all that much more unique than anyone else's. I think it's our differences that make us alike, which I know is kind of strange. But my differences were a challenge, and I allowed myself to be frightened of that. You know, it was kind of just such a big deal to try and lead a normal life or an ambitious life, knowing that I was going to have to face dealing with being different and, you know, interacting with people. I assumed it was better to just go under the radar and not really have any hopes and dreams. It was a big mistake, and I lost a lot of time feeling that way. It was just fear. So in this past year, I've decided to challenge myself, and I moved myself out of my comfort zone, and I went to New York, and I've been here for about 5.5 months. I love it. I desperately miss my family and my friends, but I love it. It's the best city in the world. I feel like it's home. I'm working on my book. I'm working on 2 actually. One is an illustrated children's cookbook, and the other one is a collection of funny observations and essays about life, because my life has been kind of unique, but I think everyone's is in some way, but I don't know. I thought I'd write it down. And I'm trying to make this work, and I'm proud of myself for getting here, getting on the bus. I'm proud of myself for removing everything that makes me feel at home and comfortable and relaxed, and it lulls me into sort of an easy place. Because I think life should be hard, it should be challenging. And I want it to be. Now, I've been working since I was 18, and I have a lot of diverse experience. I've worked in offices and restaurants and teaching and ESL tutoring and art workshop teaching and just a lot of diverse stuff, and I like it because I feel like I learn something new every time I have a new job. And it may have been really optimistic to me because in my hometown, you know, I would be hired based on my experience and my level of maybe intelligence, or faking that I have a level of intelligence, whichever. And I kind of was very optimistic about coming here and just kind of cutting through the differences, you know, giving people pause and just finding work based on my experience. But that has not been the case. New York is a very kind place, much more kind than people actually think, but it's very visual, and people have preconceived ideas of someone like me when they meet them. And more than that, sometimes they're uncomfortable. I can't blame them for that. So I have been feeling like lately, you know, I've had a few temp jobs and they were fine, they worked out, but I go on about 15 interviews a week, and I have second interviews and blah blah blah, and I don't want to be whiny about it, but I do feel like I'm running into a wall. And I devised a way of just like addressing the problem. And so I'll shake someone's hand, introduce myself, and then I'll talk to them about, you know, I understand that maybe you might be uncomfortable working with someone like me, but I would encourage you to check with my references. You know, I work well with people, people really like me. It's kind of like being a human skeleton key, because I kind of cut through the crap and just have a human connection with someone. So it actually is a really good thing in like certain jobs. For example, working in a restaurant, which is I have some experience doing. And it's actually a benefit if you handle it well. But I've run into a wall, and I don't really know what to do about it. I want to stay here. I'm not done. I have this book that I'm almost done writing, and I'm really scared that I'm going to have to go back to Kentucky before it's done, because I can't find someone that will hire me. And I'm trying to get my mind around that, because maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it doesn't have anything to do with my physique. But I'm running up against something, and I don't know what it is. And I think that's a part of it.